Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to What You Want, and thanks for logging on. Today, we're looking at the Jaeger-LeCoultre Duometre Quantième Lunaire. You can see this 40.5mm, 18-karat rose gold Jaeger-LeCoultre on our website, whatyouwant.com. You can purchase it there. And if you enjoy these videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, What You Want Inc. You can also click on the card in the upper right-hand corner of the screen at any time to see our full listing for this watch with additional accessories, extra photos, and of course, complete pricing information. Now, on my wrist, 6 1/3 inches, 16 centimeters in circumference, it's important to lead with a note about Duomètre case sizes. The two principal case sizes are 42mm, that's the original 2007 Duomètre chronograph and the original Quantième Lunaire, and 40.5. Now, the Quantième Lunaire was the second Duomètre model. It was introduced in 2010. In 2012, the Quantième Lunaire gained the 40.5mm case option you see here. So it's more compact. It also features a different type of bezel, domed rather than conical, and a more constrained case back that better frames the movement, and we'll see both to good advantage in a moment. So on my wrist, 16 centimeters in circumference, this is the more compact Duomètre. It's a full-sized reference. 40mm, especially 40.5 for a dress watch, is never going to be petite, but the watch wears well with a 48.5mm lug-to-lug measurement. It's nice and slim at 13.2mm, which is remarkable considering the caliber 381 with 374 parts that's inside. Now, because it does feature a domed bezel now, it's even a little bit easier to slide it under a tight sleeve or dress cuff, so the watch wears well with formal attire, and that's even in spite of the outcropping of the pusher adjuster for the date complication. Now, the watch has impressive heft. The case is a little bit like a langa, being deep and broad. There's a lot of gold here, so you feel that. Not overbearing, not overwhelming. It's a satisfying kind of premium pull. The lugs are substantial, and they are soldered on and double finished, so these are not screwed on lugs. They're attached and beautifully pared down. There's no evidence of the welding. Gorgeous execution, as well as beautiful sculpting, allows them to flow down and around the curvature of a smaller wrist. So if you're looking for a Duomètre, you have a smaller forearm like mine, this is a good fit. Now, I wear the original 42, I own one, and I like it. But if you do have a smaller arm, or you prefer a smaller dress reference, and it is a dress reference, this is going to be your ticket. Now, it also doesn't constrain the strap at all. JLC goes old school with straight pins, so you can easily pull the strap down and around a smaller wrist with security. Now, JLC uses a pin buckle, beautifully branded, with several different finishing, including satin on the JL logo and polished elsewhere. It's beautifully made. It is made in-house by JLC, just like the case, just like the movement. It's a beautiful complement and makes for easy adjustability of this beautiful rectangular scale alligator leather strap with monotone stitch. But it is the watch itself that's the highlight. Now, in the 40.5mm case, a little bit more refined thanks to that domed bezel, you can see the granular dial and its massive complication. Now, there are 9 hands on this dial, and that's not even counting the photorealistic moon phase. The dial has a very subtle grain to it, almost like a tremblage. It's easy to see in the photos on our website, really shows to better effect in the studio photography than on the camera in the video. But you can get a sense of the depth of this dial, different levels etched into the dial on the individual registers. You can also see the dynamism of the dial. A moon phase can be a very cerebral complication with its 29.5-day phases, and the date jumping once a day, it just doesn't have a lot of action to it. It doesn't have the visceral satisfaction of a chronograph. So Jaeger-LeCoultre maintained the foudroyant, the lightning seconds hand of the chronograph in continuous action in this caliber 381. Now, you are looking at twin power reserves flanking that dynamic subdial. You're looking at power for a barrel that effectively operates only the balance and the escapement for superb chronometry, and then the other barrel, and you can see both right here on the case back, powers all of the indications of the dial, everything from the flying seconds to the moon phase. So the power trains are split by this dual wing movement. You can see twin 50-hour power reserves. You wind each one in a different direction with this beautifully knurled, very substantial crown. And critically, as with any manual winder, the tactile experience is superb. And there's even a little bit of visual fireworks on the back with the ratcheting of these twin barrels. Now, this is all what's known as my court in the French-speaking watchmaking areas, or German silver if you are a proponent of Lange and Glasuta. But the bottom line is that it's untreated, it has a gorgeous golden tone, because no matter what language you speak, it's an alloy of copper and nickel. So unlike rhodium-plated brass, the copper lends it a beautiful gold hue that gets darker with time. Now, I mentioned that the focal point of this model is chronometry. Now, here you see one of the more obvious functions of the movement, the quick adjust for the date. But I want to emphasize something that really sets this model apart. Not only does it hack, but it has one of the most elaborate hacking functions that I have ever seen. First, and it happens in 2 stages, you pull the crown to the first detent. That stops the flying seconds hand. Then, what you do is you pull the crown to the final detent. And I want to show you the case back because it works with a recentering hammer and a heart cam on the center wheel in exactly the fashion you see on a chronograph when you reset it. You pull it out, the hammer falls, and both flying second and continuous second are synchronized. So not only does it hack, but it synchronizes both the 1/6 of a seconds hand and the continuous seconds hand. Now you push them back in and they start up again, but looking at the dial full time, it works like this. Pull to the half detent, pull the remainder of the way. One of the most elaborate hacking and synchronization systems I have ever seen on a movement. Now the rest of the movement is simply spectacular. 374 parts, 40 joules, twin 50-hour power reserves, effectively 2 movements in one, converging with their separate drivetrains on a single free-sprung balance. Now the balance beats at 21,600 vibrations per hour. It is a large balance with an immense moment of inertia, so it has resistance to shock-induced timing variations by virtue of being free-sprung and simply huge. This is a remarkable system devised by Jaeger-LeCoultre, and it works seamlessly. Far from a science project, although it is inspired by a 19th century pocket watch, its execution is very much 21st century in as much as it could only be made everyday wearable in the modern era. Beautifully built in a traditional sense, more compact than past Duomètre references, and wonderfully convenient with the daily reference of the date and the romantic reference of the moon phase. This is a superbly complicated and original dress watch from Jaeger-LeCoultre. You can see this Duomètre Quantième Lunaire in 40.5mm rose gold case on our website watchyouwant.com.